Well, since we went up to North Bend, Washington, and picked up John Glazer's 53 holes that George Barris customized back in the late 50s, all I've been doing is cleaning it up, and what I'm trying to do is get everything working on the car. Now, Petey and Roger, they've been working on the motor, and we've checked it. It's got compression, it's got oil pressure. We've got a rebuild kit for the carburetor, and then we're going to look into the blower and see if we need to rebuild that or if it's going to work. We're getting all new belts for it, and whatever else needs to be done. I've built a new battery hold down because most of that was rotted away. So I built a new one, it's in primer, we'll have to get it painted. I've brought John West in, and if you're a fan of the impression that we built, you'll recognize John West. He's the one that built the original chassis for that in his shop. We built the rest of the car here. But all I've been doing on this car is cleaning, cleaning, cleaning. I've got the last grill bar that I'm gonna go ahead and polish and get that back on. And once everything is clean, then we'll decide what we're going to redo and what we're not going to redo. I went ahead and cleaned the side pipes. Those were so bad, I sent those off. They're getting re-chromed. The only other piece right now that I'm thinking is we may re-chrome both front and rear bumper. But the rest of it, it's all about cleaning up. The top, I'm really impressed with how well that's cleaned up. But let me get this bar back in. John's working on the brakes, and I'll bring it down and show you where we're at. When something is quality underneath all of that oxidation and dirt and dust, it's really fun to restore it, clean it up. And that's all we're doing right now is just cleaning before we figure out what needs to be reworked. The last one is the hardest one to get in.
Yeah, that's what Ben was just telling me.
Hard to get your arm in there. There we go. I pulled all these out. I pulled the bar out, pulled the turn signals out, polished all those pieces and put it all back together. So, like I say, this is the last one. Bring this out just a little bit. Now on all the chrome, all I've used is a 4/0 steel wool pad with a little bit of metal polish. You can see on this corner, I haven't gone around the corner with it yet. So I'm gonna grab the steel wool and work my way around the corner and finish that up. So 4/0 steel wool and a little bit of metal polish. I've just been lightly burnishing it. There's been a few really bad dents in the bottom of the bumper. I kind of straightened out a few of them with a hammer. Did the same with the back. But like I say, when we get it all done and on the ground and we look at it, if we decide we want to re-chrome the bumpers, this is pretty bad, but it's also pretty cool that it is the original bumper and nothing has been done to it yet. So it's a big decision whether we re-chrome it. Because it's easy to say, yeah, let's pull the bumpers off and re-chrome them. But if it looks decent with the patina that's honest, then it's kind of cool to keep it. So that's not bad. That's all I've done to all the chrome. Just steel wool and a little bit of metal polish and then wipe it clean. And then I've just been cleaning the paint, and I've got to polish I ran a little metal polish on the moldings, but I haven't done past this fender yet. I've got to do that door, that quarter, and finish up the deck lid. I started at the driver's rear and I've worked my way around to here. I need to keep going. But right now we've got the car in the air so John can work on the brakes. I don't want to bring it down until he tells me I can. Can I bring the car down yet?
Yeah.
I just got my okay. Now, when we were up in North Bend, the brothers were telling me about when they were painting a C-3PO Star Wars model. That's what all this overspray is from. And to get that overspray off without sanding or damaging the paint that is here, I've been using just some quick detailer and a clay bar. And get this wet and just rub it. And it's taking all that off. Takes a little while, but this is what I've been doing on the whole car. I'm gonna get back on the door and keep working my way all the way around. And as I'm rubbing it, I'm constantly kneading the clay bar to get clean clay bar to grab the particles and pull them off the paint. And then once it's done, I've mixed up a 50-50 batch of Meguiar's number 7 and some rubbing compound, and I'll polish the paint just by hand, and then I'm putting a little carnauba wax to get basically the finish that you see up there. And like I say, all I'm trying to do right now is get everything clean. And once I have everything clean, then I'll know what I want to redo, what I want to fix, brush touch, or whatever it's going to take to make the parts look great again. But because everything here is the original and honest parts, I don't want to restore anything, because then we've just covered up what is so beautiful about this car. You know, to repaint this car would be a crime. There's a lot of old customs that do get restored and repainted, but that's because they need it. This car has been preserved for over 50 years in the garage. The beauty of it is that it is the original and honest parts. This was a show car paint job when it was first done. In today's standards, it's not a show car at all. That's what's pretty neat, because you hear, you know, the stories of over the years how things have gotten better and better and better. Well, the proof is right here. They didn't even color sand or rub this paint. This was a show car. Even the show sign talked about how this was a candy paint job. So back in 1958, when this was first done, if you took this out to a car show, think about what the original car colors were. Nothing close to this. You know, when this was shiny and out in the sun, it had that gold shining through a transparent red. This was like a spaceship. As you can see, when I wipe it down, I've got 99% of all those dots off of the paint. And I just come in and work on the little individual ones that didn't come off yet. There's a lot of overspray on here. somebody really likes Star Wars. But when I'm done, Craig and Brian, your dad will not be upset with you. We'll have all your damage off. When this was painted back in 1958, they never took the original yellow off of the car. They just sanded that and prepped it. And then where all the custom work was, of course, they primer that, block it all out, make it smooth and nice so that they can go ahead and put the paint on it. They would have started with a gold base. So if I were to sand this red, it would get down to a gold color. So they put a gold base down, and then they put a transparent red over it. And from what I understand, some of the original yellow enamel, wherever the car had been spotted, well, when you put this red on, you have to put a lot of paint on. And that red's transparent, and some of the transparency is achieved by over thinning that paint. When you get it that thin, that enamel that was on here got attacked by the thinners that were staying wet and softened it, and it wrinkled in a couple places. I don't know where those places were, but that's when Dean Jeffries came in and designed and laid out all the graphics and the scallops. He was able to cover up those wrinkles that the candy red caused to that original yellow. So, you know, my dad always said that the difference between an amateur and a professional is a professional knows how to fix his mistakes. Well, Dean fixed the mistakes, and it came out pretty cool.
When we small out in the morning, hey, yo, baby say, when we small out in the morning, you can hear your baby say, well, come on and love me, baby, it'll always be that way. When we small out in the morning, you can hear your baby say, yeah, yeah, when we small out in the morning, you can hear your baby sigh. Well, come on and love me, it'll be just you and I.
When it comes to this project, the clay bar was really something I necessarily needed.
Baby say, when we small out in the morning,
Hear your babies.
yeah, come on and love me, baby, it'll always be that way, yeah, yeah, yeah,
In this bottle, I mixed McGuire's number 7 and some rubbing compound. And you can see how flat the paint is after I've clay barred it. So then I use a little bit of this, and I'll just lightly work over it. Just by hand, because I don't want to pull much of the paint off at all. But I'm still just cleaning and starting to bring a little bit of gloss back into the paint. So as I'm wiping this, when I go over the pinstripes, I'm trying to keep real light pressure because I don't want to get rid of any of, that's Dean Jeffries' original work. That's all done by hand, and I don't want to lose any of that. The coolest thing on this car, in my mind, is the fact that it's got Dean Jeffries' signature on the hood. I've never seen another car with his signature on it. And I'm sure he did probably quite a few, but they've all been repainted or crushed in a wrecking yard somewhere. This is the only one that I know of that has his signature on it. It'd be a crime to polish the car and have that go away, or any of these stripes. So I'm just lightly going over this. And when I'm all done, I'll actually make up a little bit of touch-up paint that I can come in and brush in some of the little tiny chips in the edges of the door just to make it look that much better. And don't forget, we also have the the extra long skirts that cover this wheel opening. So before I'm done, I'll be pulling those down and cleaning those up as well. Unfortunately, we don't have John around anymore to appreciate us getting the car done, but I think if he's looking down and seeing what we're doing, I'm hoping that I'm making John real happy. But I can't wait till I'm all finished with it and we bring his sons down to see it. Because as kids, they never saw this car cleaned up. They never saw it drive. They never saw it move. So when they come down to see this, they'll actually get to drive it and enjoy it as close to being in its glory that it was in its heyday, without being completely redone, but just preserving what is here. It's interesting, you see some of these dark spots. You see this dark spot that's through here. If I were to guess, there may have been a little bit of damage on this quarter, and that's actually lead work that's underneath the primer, and it stains the gold from the back side, and that's what's making that dark spot. You can tell when you look at the surface of this paint job that it was never color sanded or rubbed like you would do today. It'd be real easy to just take a buffer and start polishing this, and you probably make it look pretty good. But you would lose the surface that this paint job has. And that's what I don't want to do, because this is what it looked like when it was finished. And that's what I'm trying to preserve, is that gun finished look. That's why I have to do it all by hand. I could use a little DA sander, but I want to get all the initial stuff by hand. Then I'll come back in and work that Meguiar's number 7, which is a polish that was made for original lacquer, which is what this is. And we'll get that lacquer to have that depth that it would have had originally with the number 7 polish. Now, I don't believe the car would have had the blotchiness that it has. I believe that's just over a period of time, and it's the lead that could have been even in the primer. Or you see the little dots that are in the gold. Now, the gold is actual bronze powder that was added to clear, and that's how you can paint it. The whole base of this car was painted that same way, and then the red was put over it. Now, if they touched it anywhere before they cleared it, which is what all these gold spots are, all these dark spots, some of that is things that got on it over the clear, and it went through the clear and got to the bronze powder and darkened it. But when they painted it, if they would have touched anything, it would, over the years, get dark, just like a bronze sculpture would be. If you finished a bronze sculpture and had it clean and then touched it with your finger, the oils in your skin would make that area of the bronze real dark. That's what this is. It's just dirt and oils and things that have stained that bronze powder. Some people like patina and dirt. They want you to leave it just the way you found it. But I don't mind patina at all, but I don't like dirt. I like patina that looks like it's still just been taken care of for years and years and years. So clean it up and let it be honest. Now, I could retape this and spray all the gold and then come back in and repaint all the, all the pinstripes. But that to me would be worse than leaving what you see here. Because this is the real art that was done back in 1958, I believe is the year this car was built. It'd be a shame to cover that up. If you wanted to restore this car, because this car is in such great shape and is the way it is, if somebody wanted to restore it, just build another one. Let this one be what it is. In some of the magazine articles, there's a picture of George Barris with John and his brother, the original owners, and they were laying out these taillights. Now these are Packard taillight, it's a lens, but there's two of them. That's why they made this chrome strip to hide the seam between the two lenses. And then this piece is just a rod that they bent to go around that and bring all the sheet metal to. They extended the quarters 20 inches in length and made these, pulled the bumpers back. If we were to go underneath, we'd probably see some frame extensions to bring those brackets back. But it's pretty cool because the thought was, let's put a different taillight than you've never seen it before. That's what this is. And I would think that this taillight probably influenced a lot of other guys to use that taillight itself and put it in a lot of different cars. Because let's face it, this industry is all about influence. You know, one guy does something, another guy thinks it's cool, he wants it on his car. So, you know, I'll bet you there was probably 50 cars built with these taillights because it was so cool when it was first done.
I think I found something.
What's that?
Whoa, check this out. Who owned it before?
This is John Glazer's car.
He was having a pretty good time, wasn't he?
Well,
This whiskey is 5 years old.
it's been in this car for
Not
over
anymore.
50 years. Well,
Yikes.
you know, John had 3 sons.
Cool.
Baby in every bottle.
That's cool. I didn't know whiskey got
That's
like
cool.
that.
Look at the bottom of the bottle, say what year it was made. The first number.
63, yeah. Damn. Putting that in our body.
Wonder what year John got married. Well, I've pretty much got everything clean as far as the paint. I've still got some more clay bar to do on that deck lid, but I won't do that until John's done with the brakes. We'll get this thing down. You know, when I look at it, it's real easy to think, why don't I just scuff this down, get it real clean, put a nice coat of clear on it and color sand and rub that and polish it. It would make it really shiny and look great, but it wouldn't be what this was in its day. I want to keep it what it was in its day and keep the beauty of what it is. So my job is just to keep cleaning and getting it as nice as I possibly can. But for now, I'm going to switch to a different project while John's doing the brakes on the car.